Hello, we are back with some more information about the school education system in Washington State and also national. So it's been a little over a month, and every month something happens, and there's actually more than not. So let's talk about the NEA, which is the National Education Association. It's the nation's largest teachers union. They have proposed a resolution that would change the word mother in contracts to birthing parent to be more inclusive to transgender parents. Well, my question is, am I the only one wondering why the teachers union isn't focusing more on education for our children? What exactly is the teachers union's role in society? So I looked it up, and it's to protect teachers' rights, to support teacher professionalism, and check administration power. Well, I looked up the Washington State Education Association, and they bring in $70 million a year. And the Washington Education Association Teachers Union has 4 levels of the union. They have the NEA, which is the National Education Association. They have the UniService, which is the regional office. They have the local association, which is like the one here in Walla, and then obviously the WEA. So a lot of them, when they get that money, they spend it in those 4 categories. So just because it's the National Education Association still means it affects Walla and our teachers union. So just to let you know. And the teachers union here in town, most teachers pay an average of $100 a month to be in the teachers union, but it's also a right to work state, so you do not have to be in the teachers union anymore to get the benefits. Also, the Washington Education Association Teachers Union has stated about the Roe versus Wade Supreme Court decision, and this is what they said in one of the paragraphs. They came out and everybody got the letter, that Trump Republicans have strived to overturn the will of the people in our elections through the courts and with violent mobs of their supporters. Whether it's funneling public money to schools, promoting religious dogma, or restricting access to health care. I would encourage all conservative teachers to drop their union memberships just because of that letter alone, not even with everything else added to it. There is just a quick review. In March, it was reported that budget numbers show the amount spent per student per year for kindergarten to 12th grades in public schools in Washington State is a staggering $18,175. So each student in Washington State is $18,175 that the public schools are spending per student. Well, here's some more information. There are 1.1 million public school students in Washington State. And today and tomorrow, the Washington State Board of Education is holding a 2-day meeting in Spokane to discuss the board's priorities for the 2023 session of the state legislature and other items. But guess what? There's no mention of urging the legislature to help students regain the academic learning they lost when Governor Inslee closed schools for nearly 2 years. The data from state tests, now this is Washington State, the data from state tests showed 70% of those 1.1 million students failed in math, and 50% of those 1.1 million students in Washington State failed in English. This is an education crisis, and the State Board of Education is acting as if it does not exist. Let's move on to the Washington State School Board Director in Bellingham, Washington, who will be holding a sexual pleasure class for kids 9 years to 12 years old at her sex shop. Wink, wink. I just think it's funny. It's a 2-day workshop. Some of the topics include what is sex, different kinds of solo and partnered sexual activities, safer sex practices for all kinds of sexual activities, and also the ethics and reality of sexualized media and pornography. For 9-year-olds to 12-year-olds, can we say grooming? And the people of Bellingham voted this school board director in twice, overwhelmingly. This is why voting matters.
Yes.
You all need to vote. Also, on June 23rd, which was just last month, the Kennewick School Board in Tri-Cities voted to accept the Anti-Racist Baby book, which is a children's book, which is really not a children's book, into their schools. This book is written by Ibram Kendi, the radical critical race theory ideologist, and his books push the racist ideology that white people are oppressors and that black and brown people are victims of their oppression. His books should not be approved. But again, no one asked my opinion. But for the record, Walla Walla School District does not have it. But we will never know if a teacher has it in their classrooms because there's no recording of anything that the teachers take to school and share and leave on their shelves. A couple more things. According to the Rodiger report, America First, every year the Department of Education spends twice as much as Elon Musk is spending to buy Twitter. So I looked online. Elon Musk bought Twitter for $46.5 billion. So you times that by 2, that's $93 billion our Department of Education in the United States is spending. Now, since 1980, the year President Carter ignored the Constitution to create the Department of Education, every measurable academic metric has declined. Get rid of it. Return education to the local level. Also, Oregon's Department of Education allocated nearly $2 million for a fellowship that would train up to 600 educators from diverse backgrounds to reject the worldview of individualism. It disrupts a racist pattern and works towards liberation, equity, and decolonization. And remember, anti-individualism equals socialism. So if you sacrifice your values and individualism for the good of society, that's socialism. So Oregon apparently wants to be like China, where individualism is frowned upon and you're just a number. Home school, people, or put in private school. You send your child to school to learn, not to be indoctrinated. Sarah?
Okay, well, that was a lot of information. I don't have that much information. It's hard to keep up with Kathy. But I did want to talk to you about a few things that have caught my eye recently. The first thing is a bill that was passed in 2021. It is the Senate Bill 5044, and it is specifically about critical race theory. And it says that all staff must be trained in this. And one of the things that it says is that it plans to continue the important work of dismantling institutional racism in public schools and recognizes the importance of increasing equity, diversity, inclusion, anti-racism, and cultural competency training throughout the entire public school system. Now, there's just one thing, because it's a huge document and I haven't even gotten all the way through it, but there is something that I just wanted to bring up. Equity does not equal equality. Okay? Equity does not mean equal. They try to use it as the same, but it is not. I would encourage you to look into this. I think, this goes back to receiving and getting things based on your cultural background, or what color your skin is, or different things like that. And so please look into that.
So, quick question.
Yes.
Because I'm just hearing about this right now.
Yes.
So that passed in the legislature.
That is a done deal.
Washington State.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that the teachers have to be educated,
Trained
in CRT, critical race theory.
Yes.
Now, let it be known, because every time we bring this up at school board meetings, they're always in denial. We do not teach critical race theory. We do not teach critical race theory.
So, yeah, but the reason they can say that is because they're training teachers. It's not in the curriculum. But if you're training teachers, what is going to come out of their mouth in the classroom? Unless you have a very devoted teacher who isn't drinking the Kool-Aid.
Well, exactly, but then why train them? Why spend the money for teachers? Because, they've got all this money apparently to train all these teachers. Why are they wasting their time if they're not going to teach it or talk about it? So, yeah, that's crazy.
So the next time somebody tells you that there's no critical race theory in Washington State or in Walla, you might want to, tell them about this bill that exists and that it is happening. Yeah. The next thing that comes up that does also affect us is it's the 50th anniversary of Title IV, which, if you're not familiar with that, it is what gave equal opportunities in education and athletics to girls and women. And this was a good thing. The Biden administration is pushing to have the male and female definition redefined. So if this passes, which this literally makes zero sense in my brain, but it's okay. If this passes, the Department of Education will use the power of the federal government to force girls to share private spaces like showers, locker rooms, and bathrooms with males, which is already happening in the Walla School District.
Yes.
So realize some of this could be happening, but if this is going to be on a more national level, which means that we're not going to have a lot of ways to change it. So they will force girls to lose sex-specific scholarships to males who identify as females. It will likely further the LGBT political agenda in public school curriculum and policies. It will silence girls who express concerns about their privacy and safety, and shut down any opposition to transgender ideology by labeling disagreements as discrimination. It will allow students to file official harassment claims if they are not addressed by their preferred pronouns, even when those do not align with their biological sex. These are just some of the main things that we know this will affect, and I'm sure there are more. But there is still time. This has not passed. Please communicate and be in contact with your legislators and the Department of Education. Those are easy things to Google and look up and get email addresses and different things so that you can let them know how you feel about this. The last thing that I kind of wanted to bring up was the RCW 28A.405.030. This was interesting to me because I had not heard this before. It says, must teach morality and patriotism. It shall be the duty of all teachers to endeavor to impress on the minds of their pupils the principles of morality, truth, justice, temperance, humanity, and patriotism, to teach them to avoid idleness, profanity, and falsehood, to instruct them in the principles of free government, and to train them up to the true comprehension of the rights, duty, and dignity of an American citizenship. Any of you feel like this is being followed in the state of Washington based on all of the things that we just said to you? Do you have examples specifically of this specific RCW being ignored here locally in Walla School District? Do you feel strongly as a patriot that this RCW is being followed? I would love to hear from you, honestly, because I feel like it's not being followed. And it's very frustrating. We are still looking for someone to head up a letter email writing campaign here in our local community for our local legislators, government, different things like that. If you're interested in that, please let me know. Are any of you considering homeschooling right now and you're not sure where to start, or you've got some massive questions? I had a friend who runs a school co-op, and she did a really awesome workshop for people that were considering homeschooling this spring. And so I just wanted to see how much interest was out there again for something like this. We want to provide as much resources as possible. You can message me here on Facebook, or you can feel free to email me at the forourkidsww@gmail.com website. Be happy to give you resources for that. And we have some upcoming events on Tuesday, July 19th, which is just next week, which is crazy. 4:45 prayer meeting in the parking lot down on Park Street, where the school board meetings are held, and then 5:30 is when the school board meeting will be. I want to encourage you to come. If you've thought about it, you've had good intentions to come, you've considered it, and now is the time. There isn't any more time to waste regarding these issues. Summer is not a time to take a back seat or a break. They need to know that we are not going away. So, do you think the children of Walla are worth fighting for? That's really what it comes down to. So please show up. Show up for the kids of Walla. They need you. They need every single one of us there. And so we look forward to seeing all of you. If you have questions or concerns or examples of the things that we talked about today, please let us know, and we look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
I'm sure we'll have more information.
I'm sure we will, but we're all talked out at this moment.